Hello, everybody. We're going live. If anybody hears me, go ahead and type something in the chat. Let me know you're here. Say hello. Let me know how my audio levels sound. All right, video is live. Okay, so I'm starting back up with this project that I started. Oh, I don't know when the last time is. I worked on this in December, maybe. Anyway, this was a illustration by this amazing Korean artist named Kim Jung-gi. And so I found this illustration, and I'm going to be turning this into a sculpture. It's a pretty complicated piece. There's a lot of little things going on. So this is one, I'm just going to be plugging away at for several different sessions. I've already put like 2 or 3 different sessions into this one so far, but we're just going to keep going with this. Going to fine tune some things, going to build some more objects, and we're just going to have fun. We're going to chat, and hopefully everybody enjoys. Feel free to give me any comments or questions in the chat here, and I'll be sure to keep an eye on the chat and answer any of your questions. So yeah, let's just dive right in. I'm gonna put the head on the snake here. So I've got kind of a rough sculpt going on this. I'm gonna go ahead and retopologize this guy before I go ahead and attach it to the snake body. So let's just start in with that. So when I retopologize, one thing I like to do is establish different polygroups for helping guide the edge flow. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm just going to use a mask here to kind of define the most important shapes and curves of this model. Just kind of fill in with the mask brush here. Anyway, yeah, it's been a long time since I've been doing a stream. It's been a few months, maybe 7 months, something like that. I was traveling in Colombia and Mexico for a total of about 5 months this winter. So I was working all that time, not full time. I was working like 4 hours a day roughly with my freelance clients. And then the rest of the time just kind of traveling around and exploring, adventuring, finding really cool things to get into. Had my laptop with me. So it's nice how staying in Airbnbs and just, getting on the Wi-Fi, getting some work done for a few hours a day. Every once in a while I had trouble with the Wi-Fi though. So it's not the most ideal situation for getting work done, but it definitely is an ideal situation for traveling and exploring. So when I identify one area of this model where I want to have separate polygroups, I can just use, I can't remember exactly what the tool is. I've got it set to a hotkey, but it basically cuts kind of an edge in a new polygroup. I've got a question here from Creative Branches. Any inspirations from your adventures? Oh yeah. I think there's always, different things you see in different cultures that inspire you. So um, there's a sculpture that I made recently that's kind of based on the idea of a dream catcher, except it's in reverse. It's a dream releaser. So I made a sculpture of that. Actually, if you guys hold on for just a moment, I'll come back and show this on my live camera. Let's see if everybody can see me here. Okay, so this is a piece I made in ZBrush. It's called a dream releaser. It's a little sculpture. And I don't know, it's meant to be used kind of like a dream catcher, but for dreams you want to get rid of. Got this 3D printed through, I think it was Shapeways. Hey, Juan Pone, Game Cosas 3D. How's it going? Good to see you here. Okay, so yeah, just gonna continue. Let's see, let's identify some other areas I want to have established in the edge flow. Get the eyes in. Now this isn't going to be animated, so I don't have to be as precise with my topology as I would for characters that are going to be animated. Something that's nice enough to sculpt on and do some simple posing. So where are you from, Juan Pon? Just got to do a little bit of wrangling here with my polygroups. Okay, this should be good enough to do some Z remesher on. Let's see. Actually, I think I do want to do a little bit more defining of this. Actually, you know what? Doesn't really matter. It'll be fine. Hey there, Yadhaven. BRH. Not sure what the BRH means, but welcome. All right, so let's run Z remesher on this. Turning on keep groups. I've got a question from Henry Minot. Is it possible to rename materials in the materials palette? Not that I know of. I think you can save a material with a different name, and then it will load with a new name, I think. All right, so this topology is actually pretty decent for something I want to sculpt on. You know, it's not like the best for animation, but honestly, it's not that bad. So keeping those polygroups is really beneficial for getting that edge flow to follow where I wanted it to go. So I'm going to be attaching this head to the body so I can actually cut off the last little bit of this and just delete that. Okay, so we've got the rest of the head there. Let's see, I want to put the snake head and eyes in a new folder. You can't see it actually, so One thing I'll show you guys really quick is what you see right now is just the canvas portion of my ZBrush. And actually, I've got 4 monitors. And so what I'm streaming right now is just the one monitor, and I stretched my ZBrush interface out over the other, like, well, 3 total monitors. Um, so let me show you what that looks like. So what you see down here is like stretched down into a monitor below the canvas, and then on the left there's a vertical monitor. I stretched the rest of the interface onto the left monitor, and I actually could stretch even more onto the right monitor that I have, but I really don't I have, that much interface. I suppose I could like pull every single button out I could possibly find to use and put that on another monitor, but um, yeah, pretty much all my custom interface is right here on this. So, but that's a lot to look at. So we'll just hide that for right now. Hey, we're just having a good time here. Just getting into sculpting. One of my favorite things to do. So anyway, yep, I've got a new folder made. I'm going to put the snake head and the eyes in that folder. And then we can transpose set that, move that head into place. Probably going to need to scale it a little bit too. Oops. Oh, you know what? The eyes are, I'm using an instance mirror for that eye, so I'm just going to turn off that instance for right now. Actually, you know what? No, never mind. I'm not going to turn that off. I'm going to lock in that instance. Now we can move that head into place. And I might need to fatten up the snake or shrink down. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to need to shrink down the snake head quite a bit, actually. That's closer to the original art. Okay, so now I need to attach these two. And let's see, right now, yeah, I've got this texture, it's on a UV map. It's not actually poly painted. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and save this really quick. And then we'll see what happens if we attach a mesh without a UV map to a mesh that does have a UV map. Let's see if it causes any problems. Cool. We got a viewer from India. Nice to join. We're glad you could join us, Yadhavan. Okay, so let's join the snake head and body. Yeah, when I merged those two, it it didn't like merging one mesh that doesn't have textures with another mesh that does have textures. So what I'm going to have to do is, let's see, does it still have the UV map? That's strange, it just got rid of my texture. Yeah, it should still have the UV map, but it got rid of it. Got rid of the texture that was on it. All right, you know what? I'm actually going to load up because now I can't undo that when I merge those two subtools. So I'm just going to reload because luckily I saved it just before doing that. So let me take the texture map that comes with this and make sure to save this texture out. Sculpting in Blender, good or bad? What's my opinion, bro? My opinion is, well, I haven't sculpted in Blender in a long time. I've done it, but it's been years, and I seem to remember it was okay, not as buttery smooth as ZBrush, but you can do some cool stuff. All right, let's try this again. I'm gonna try to combine these two and make sure that so see, I've got my texture ready to reapply, so this should work. Merge these two. Oh, now it kept it. You know what I think I did? Previously I merged the head down onto the body, and this time I merged the body down onto the head, and this time it kept my texture. So I think the order of your subtools makes a difference. Okay, so let's go ahead and attach these. I'm going to try to sort of scale up the neck a little bit right where it meets the head. Kind of inflate it a bit. Try to help these line up a little bit better. My name is Ryan Kittleson. Answering this question here from Yad Havan, and I'm 44. I don't know about you guys, but in my restream, it still has the name of the previous streamer, Jared Chavez. I don't know if you guys see that or not, but my name is Ryan Kittleson. Okay, so when I made this, I was trying to roughly get kind of a similar number of polygons from the head onto the body of the snake. It looks like there's a few more on the head, but it shouldn't be a huge problem. So I'm just going to go in the ZBrush. We'll do some bridge between two holes, and we'll just see what happens. I might like it, I might not like it. You know what? That's actually pretty close. I only see one reduction. That's really interesting. I thought there was going to be more. That's good, actually. So I'm just going to kind of smooth out this connection between these two. I've got a question from Yad Havan. Will AI replace animation? That's a really good question. I think about that a lot actually, because I would, I love animation. I would love to create my own animated shorts, and I have made some animated shorts, but they're a lot of work to make. And I've been thinking lately, like how great it would be to have AI help me make animated shorts, take some of the word workload off. I think AI is going to get better and better at creating all kinds of images, video, animation, art of all kinds. It's going to be getting better and better and better at it. But I think that there's always going to be a place for humans making art, if only because it's a really enjoyable, satisfying thing to do, to make art, regardless of how good it is, or whether other people like it, or whether it sells, or whether it makes money. It's just a really good idea to make art. And no matter how good AI gets at it, I think it's always going to be valid to make art. Just like we no longer need people to be making pottery, because factories make plastic bowls and vases so much more easily and cheaply. But there's still people, learning ceramics. So I think people are still going to do animation, um, but AI is going to be taking greater and greater roles in the production of commercial animation, which mm, is going to take jobs away from humans, maybe, probably. So I'm not super happy about that. But I think that if we can have a situation where AI and robots are taking the dirty jobs like factory work, farm work, those kinds of things, and everybody can have a universal basic income to buy the necessities like housing and food and clothing, then I'm not going to be very heartbroken about AI replacing animation, because then people will be freed up to just do the creative things they want to do with their life, whether or not they're going to make money. So that's my short answer. You don't want to hear my long answer. I could talk for days and days about AI and art. All right, so we've attached these two. Obviously, the color doesn't match up yet, but as I get farther into it, I'll be sort of hand painting the head and hand painting that seam difference between the two. But just for right now, just to have a model in place. It's not too bad. We got something really moving along here. All right, let's keep going though with this snake. I'm gonna give him some fangs. Gonna give him give him a tongue. Some interesting new features just released in ZBrush. I don't know if you guys have played with it yet, but I'm gonna try some of them out here with this tongue. Split that off as a separate object. And let's see, let's dynamesh these two together. That's a good point, Creative Branches. I like that. That's really the value of art to me. It's the value that the artist gets from the act of making art, where the true value of art is. And AI can't replace that, no matter how good it gets. Okay, so there's this new feature. Let's play around with it. Actually, first I'm going to ZRemesh this tongue. Okay, so this new feature, it's like a brush. It's called the anchors brush, and it lets you set these like points and then bend things. Kind of cool. I kind of like it. And you can actually do a twist. Let's do a twist on this. Hey, what's up, Lake Syrup? This is my buddy Scott Denson here in the chat. He was a guest on this live stream back, I don't know, a year ago or so. Good to see you here, man. Yeah, this is my first time back on this live stream in like 7 months or so. So just kind of looking at this project again that I haven't opened in that long, trying to just remember what I named all my subtools and what I need left to do on everything. Okay, so let's see, what else should we do? Let's get the fangs. Let's put some fangs on this guy. You know what? I'm going to steal a fang from the crocodile mouth that I've already made. I'll bring that over. I'll just steal one of them, delete the others. Nice, back in London. Where were you at, Scott? Minnesota. I was actually just in Minnesota a couple weeks ago, actually. I was on a road trip across the USA from New Jersey back to Portland, and I drove through Minnesota. I didn't stop at your family cabin, though, which is a shame. I'm sure it's awesome. Oh, that's cool, Scott. So yeah, family tradition. Nice. Yeah, I'm back in Portland now for a bit. Gonna be here through the summer and fall for sure. I might be doing more traveling again this coming winter. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how things go. Yeah, so another guest that I've had on this live stream, James Bochansky, he actually just moved in with me at my house, and he's from New Jersey, and that so we were doing this road trip across the USA with him, And then so yeah, he moved in. It took 8 days to get across the country. We were driving like 6, 7 hours a day. Stopped in Chicago, stopped at Yellowstone National Park, Devil's Tower, Wyoming. Went to some hot springs in Idaho and Oregon on the way. Pretty pretty sweet time. Yeah, I've never been to London or England. It'd be really great to come out and visit you, man. So these snake eyes are kind of cartoony. So I'm not gonna like worry too much about it. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make the pupils out of like these little extra spheres. Just color them black. Kind of emphasize the popping out. I'm doing a little wall-eyed, a little goofy too. Right, there we go. Really emphasizing the torture the snake's going through. So creative branches, yeah, I was driving every day. Probably the shortest amount of driving was the day we went to Yellowstone because we woke up in Cody, Wyoming, drove into Yellowstone, checked out all the cool stuff in Yellowstone, and then that evening then drove to my mom's house, which is about an hour and a half west of Yellowstone, southwest in Idaho. Yeah, there's always something about adding the pupils in eyes. It's kind of a dangerous thing to do because it can give you the illusion that your model is more finished than it really is to put the pupils in. So I like to save them till later usually, um, because it sort of encourages you to put more work into the rest of the model. And then when you feel like you can't do anything else with the rest of the model, then you put the pupils in to finish it off. Because then you put the pupils in before you're finished, and you're like, oh, okay, this is done. That looks cool. Do I like hard surface modeling? Joy boy. Yeah, yeah, I do. Uh, I think I prefer organic sculpting, but um, yeah, hard surface is great too. Yep, add the pupils late. It's a great tip. But I cheated. I added them sooner. You know what I'll do? Oh shoot, I accidentally moved the body. There we go. You know, I'm gonna hide the pupils so that I don't succumb to my own delusions. Actually, I'm going to use that new anchors brush a little bit here. Let's see how this works because the snake needs to fit into this eyelet, and it's a little bit needs to be smaller. So let's see. Let's just get that anchors brush. Boom. And you know, there's a trick. You can start to move it and then you hold down control and you can slide it. So now it's in the center. Well, it's kind of closer to the center of that because that's where I want the deformation to occur from the center. And then we'll go to scale. See how that, oh wait, no, oh shoot. I don't want it to scale. I want it to scale in one dimension. I don't think I can do that. Crap. Nope. Let's do it a different way. Cool, we can just tuck this into place. There's kind of like endless tweaking just to get all the little bits and pieces where they belong. That's what I signed up for when I got into 3D, endless tweaking. It's time to save. So I'm debating with myself about how to do the scales on the crocodile here, gator, whatever it is. Um, so I was thinking I might sculpt all this on, but then I was thinking maybe it'd be better to have these as like separate objects that I could like kind of position in place all over, and then I could, yeah, keeping them separate is going to help keep a sharper like shape and outline between all of these different things. And then actually that also avoids me having to subdivide the body like a whole bunch of times in order to get nice sharp detail in there. So even though I did start to sculpt a little bit of that that scale detail, I think I'm just going to build this as like separate objects on top of this. But I'm going to do that after I pose because I don't want to put all those pieces on and then pose and then I'd have to like reposition all of those little pieces individually or like go about it a more cumbersome way. So I'm gonna get the pose of the body like really established and then I'll start layering on those scales as separate objects. Question from Creative Branches, I can meld all the objects together at the end. Yeah, there's definitely some tricks for that too. I could like combine all those into one piece and then even dynamesh them with the body with a copy of the body and then do a projection from from this mesh to the version with all the little things. We'll see. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. Entertainment jerk. Well, glad you could join us, entertainment jerk. How did I make the scales of the snake? I made one segment of the snake body with this kind of like scale thing going on, and then I duplicated it along a curve. Like I made a curve brush with it and drew it out, and it made all these copied segments. That's pretty much it. I also made a texture, so it repeated the texture and the UV map along the way too. Okay, so I think next I'm going to pose the fingers and hand. Wow, I don't know why my phone is ringing. Literally no notifications popping up telling me that anybody's calling, yet my ringer is ringing anyway. That's great. All right, let's pose this arm. You know, I could use the new anchor brush, but honestly, for a lot of this, I still like using kind of the old-fashioned way with the gizmo, especially since, oh, you guys, I need to plug Ryan's Tools, my plugin for ZBrush. Uh, I've got a feature there. It centers the pivot on the joint. So notice like the pivot point could be over here, right? I've just got this hotkey and boom, it puts the pivot point right in the center of the geometry. So you don't have to like manually like click it here, but then you have to like move it to the center, blah, blah, blah. It just puts it right in the center of the joint. It's so great. That's totally a Scott request. Um, I'm typing in a link to my plugin in the chat right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna pose this arm in a better place, and then I'll reposition the snake to fit the arm. My chat window told me something went wrong. Guys, let me know if you can still see the chat window. I had to reload it. I'm just gonna walk my mask down the joint. And that's actually looking pretty close to the original concept art. That angle there. Gonna bulk up his bicep a little bit. So there is, if it's just a hotkey mapped to one of the functions here in masking. There's just grow mask. But actually, it's the grow mask actually does a grow blur. Let me show you really quick. So you've got a mask, and just in the tool masking, there's grow mask, but it kind of like blur grows it. So I have a macro set up that like grows it once and then sharpens it. And then so it's just grow, sharpen. And so every time I hit the hotkey, and actually what I do, I've also got a macro that sort of just repeats it. It just does it automatically. I just hit escape when the mask has reached the point where I want it to reach. Um, so yeah, just a lot of little things that I've added as macros or plugins that help the sculpting process go more smoothly. So I put a lot of those into my plugin Ryan's Tools, so definitely check that out. There is a free version, but the free version is limited to an older version of Ryan's Tools, and then there's a $5 version for hobbyists, um, people who are not making money with ZBrush. And then there's a $20 version for professionals, people who are making money with ZBrush. And that pro version comes with some extras like some custom brushes, custom alphas, custom materials, my custom gizmo, which you can see right here. Henry Minot, thanks so much for buying the Pro Ryan's tools. Glad to hear you like it. Difference between Z scripts and macros? Not a huge difference, actually. They're basically the same thing. It's just macros are through the macro menu, and then Z scripts you can actually turn into plugins, which here's Ryan's tools. And so you can do a little bit more fancy stuff like kind of create a UI with some graphics um, and some other stuff, but and you can also make like um, toggle switches and on-off buttons and sliders and stuff with ZScript as well. Hey, thanks for showing up, Scott. Thanks so much for the plug. Really glad you could join us, Scott. Take it easy. I'll be in touch. Let's see. I think this mesh has posable symmetry, so I'm gonna use posable symmetry so I can. Oh no, it's not gonna let me use posable symmetry. Wait a minute. Oh, that's weird. I made the mesh to be symmetrical, but it's not letting me use posable symmetry. What a bummer. So Entertainment Jerk says he wants to create a timer for speed sculpts. Um, I don't know how you do that in Z scripts. There, I think I'm not sure. That's probably something you want to just do separate, like just set your own timer. I'm not sure why you needed to make a Z script to make a timer in ZBrush. Like there's all kinds of apps on phones for timers and stuff like that. Trying to get used to this new anchors brush. It's kind of cool. I kind of like it. Just trying to bend that finger, and then I'll get that snake put in position. I like how he's got a little like pinkies up grip on that snake. That's really cute. And then once I put the snake in, of course I can finesse the fingers a little bit more, but that'll work for right now. Go ahead and switch over to the other hand. Let's see, let's start from the shoulder. Looks like I need to lift this arm just a little bit. Maybe bring it forward just a little bit. Get a little forearm twist going too. Just had to hide a little bit of that. The model's getting in my way. Hey, Raphael. Yeah, that's my custom gizmo. Thanks. It's yeah, just all the same functionality, but I feel like it's laid out with the different move, rotate, scales in a much more convenient way. I wish this anchor tool would automatically position these anchors in the middle of the shape you click them on. I wish. Ah, 'cause then it does weird things. And this last pinky, I love how it just really pinkies out. All right, let's, I'm probably gonna modify these poses just a little bit. Sometimes, sometimes the shoulders definitely always get awkward. It's easy to get collapsing in the shoulders when you bend arms down. There's posing, and then there's always resculpting with anatomy. All right, let's repose this one segment of snake. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use one of my Ryan's Tools brushes here. It is, it's a gradient mask. So get this. You can draw out a gradient mask. I'm going to redraw that. There we go. So I'm going to have that gradient mask kind of go along that full length of that segment. So you get like a smoother transition. And then just make sure to hide the rest of that snake. Invert the mask. Oops. All right. Yeah, just trying to fit this snake then into the hands. Use that fancy anchors brush again. It's growing on me. I think I'm starting to like it. Only used it a couple times before this video. Now this section of snake should be pretty straight because it's being pulled taut, but I want to make sure that after this point it can be, I don't want it to be on the same plane. I want it to kind of break this angle. So I'm just going to pull out that anchor brush again and just kind of like see how we can turn it a little bit maybe. Especially once it gets past this point. Looks like its shape collapsed a little bit. I'm going to give it some of its thickness back. just have to watch out. It's got this open end here. I guess I can probably just close this off right now. Let's go to close convex hole. Yeah. Shoot. Try again. And it's about time to do another save. All right, this guy's coming along. Let's fit the other snake into that hand. Just gonna use the move brush this time. I always like to just test out different tools for everything that I'm doing, because you just kind of get a sense from just testing it out, like which tools are going to work better in different situations. And so I'm just always like, oh, what if I use this different tool in this situation? How is that going to get the work done better or faster? Just always kind of remembering how different tools behave so that when new situations come up, I can just be like, ah, you know what? Had the effect I'm looking for. That other time I was using the move brush in that situation. It's like exercise. You just get a bunch of repetitions in. Some tools are going to be more tweaky. Others will go kind of more direct to the finish line, but it's always good to experiment. Even if it takes a little bit more time with one tool, you're always learning something. All right. Next, I want to get his shoe. Zoom out a little bit here so you can all see this. I hate how in Windows 11, it always, whenever you move your window up to the top, it tries to like decide how it's going to arrange it for you instead of just leaving it at the top like you wanted it. Hope there's a way to turn that off. Anyway, let's look at the shoe for a second. So Kim Jong-gi did an interesting thing with the illustration here. He made one shoe bigger than the other because he wanted to emphasize the fact that this is where the action is, not this shoe over here. So he made this one smaller. That might look a little weird. I'm going to try to find a way to keep the shoes the same size, but still trying to emphasize this one. We'll see what happens. First, I need to pose one of these legs into that shoe. Might be a little bit tricky. Gonna have to do a lot of cleanup sculpting when I'm done with this. But we'll just mash it into place and then see what happens. You know what I might have to do is actually move that shoe farther to character right, which would mean actually having to reposition how these snakes go into there, but that's fine. That's worth it. Yeah, that's fine. I can do that. So I've got the shoe in its own folder, so it's easy to just put set on that, slide it over. And yeah, we could flare it out a little bit to the side. Yeah, actually looks a lot like the reference. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay. So from here, I'm just going to bend and stretch this snake segment to fit it back where it should go into this. Coincidentally, the other snake segment went right to the same eyelet. I'm trying to put this one in. Might be some more tweaking to do on that, but that's pretty close. Cool. Looking good. Actually, a little tweak I want to do. All right, so there's some more details I want to put on this shoe before I duplicate it. The original art has some, there's kind of like a scaly texture, kind of like a diamond shaped scale texture on the shoe. So let me try to get that in. I'm trying to think how I want to do that. I'm gonna chunk up some of these things even more chunky than they would be in real life, just for like added effect. Like some chonky shoes. I'm really not sure how I'm going to make that scale pattern on the shoes because it's kind of this repeating pattern. You know what? I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it later. I'll work on something else right now. I'm going to make his hat. Let's do his hat. I've got about 40 more minutes left anyway, so we can just start on something more fun. Oh, that's weird how that happened. Oh, I think it's not consistently creased. That's probably why. Always an interesting challenge making a cap with a bill on it. I'm going to do it in segments, I think. Fun should have multiple definitions. I like it. Thought I had mirroring turned on, but I guess I didn't. Who's Andrew Tate? All right, I'll look him up. Look up who Andrew Tate is after I'm done here, of course. All right, let's put the propeller on his head. This is gonna be fun. So hard to grab edges when they're really long. Have to be like on the exact pixel. Okay, this guy's really coming along. Feeling pretty good about how it's looking so far. Thanks, Creative Branches, otherwise known as Giacomo. Giacomo is my friend, by the way. He's also my housemate. So everybody say hi to Giacomo, otherwise known as Creative Branches. Some air in his cap. Actually, I see a couple things I want to do to the snake. Oh, I think at some point I lost the... Wait, no, I didn't. There's this pupils. Would be cool to make this guy as a 3D print, although that tongue, snake tongue, is going to be tricky. And the propeller on the hat. Probably have to print them as separate objects, make them thicker, make the teeth a little thicker, but it could work. It's time for another save. You guys can't see my save screen, but it's on a different monitor. All right, I'm going to put the little claws on his fingers. Just going to duplicate these fangs, turn them into claws. So check this out, guys. You ready for this? Watch this. Boom. Do you see that? Just snap one object onto another. Yep. Yep, that snap it aligns with the what's called the normal, or the the point which is most perpendicular to the 3D surface of the two objects. All right, let's try that again. Ah, crap. I thought it would leave a masked object alone, but it moves the masked object. So I'm going to split that into two subtools. And then it just takes a little bit of tweaking to get position really, really where I wanted it. Actually, I want it more angled down. All right. Got a lot of progress done today. Still a lot left to go, but we're getting there. Got about a little less than 10 minutes left to go. I'm just going to take the bottom edge of this foot here and kind of fill out something in the shoe. It doesn't have to look particularly like a foot or anything, but just something to kind of fill in that space, that gap a little bit, just in case anybody looks down inside the shoe so they don't see just a nub sitting there. It's a little bit more like a foot than I was originally going for. That's okay. I was able to get it done pretty fast. And of course the geometry looks like trash, but that's okay. It's hidden under a shoe. Nobody cares. One little detail I wanted to add to the snake is kind of like you know how that there's like kind of a little patch of flesh that kind of forms that corner of the mouth. I'm just gonna make something for that really quick. Okay, so in the original illustration, the shape of this body is a little bit more like organic and chaotic, so I'm just gonna kind of ding him up a little bit. Just gonna grab and pull on some of this, just to try to make his shape a little more kind of organic, a little more, put a little more chaos into it. And I'll do the same thing on this side. All right, well, I'm out of time for today. I'm going to be scheduling time on Tuesdays, same time. Pacific time is Tuesday, 10 a.m. to noon. So the same time in a week. Look for me here. And I will see you guys later. Thanks so much for joining. It's great to be back doing this again.